Hello everyone and welcome to another video. In this video, we'll be looking at how to set up IP Passthrough on the Comset CM550W 5G router. IP Passthrough allows us to assign the router's public IP address to another device, such as a PC. This will mean that the router bridges all traffic to the assigned device. It will also disable other functionality on the router, so all it's doing is passing through the packets it receives. IP Passthrough can be used to allow us to set up network address and port translation and port address translation through the cellular network, and it can make configuring port forwarding a lot simpler. To start, we need to check the LAN MAC address or the physical address on our PC or whatever device you're using. To do this, go to your network adapter settings. On Windows 11, you can find this by going to the Network and Internet settings, Advanced Settings, and then click on Ethernet and choose View Additional Properties. Now we're going to copy this physical MAC address or write it down somewhere because we'll need this for the configuration. Now let's go back to the web interface for our router and let's give our router a public IP address. To do this, go to Basic Network and then Cellular, and then go across to SIM1 and change the APN to the relevant APN for your provider to give you a public IP address. For Telstra, this is telstra.extranet. If you're using two SIM cards, you can also change this on SIM2 as well. Once you're done, click Save. And then reboot the router by clicking this little Reboot Now link. Now it takes a minute for the router to reboot, so I'm going to jump ahead. Now my router has rebooted and it has a public IP address. We can see this on the status overview page by scrolling down to the cellular panel, and we can see that the IP address here is a public one. IP Passthrough works with both dynamic and static public IP addresses, so it doesn't matter which one you have here. It just depends on your provider and your needs for the network. Now you might want to make a note of this IP address as well because we'll use it later on to test that the configuration is working properly. Next, let's configure the IP Passthrough. To do this, go to Advanced Network and then IP Passthrough. Check Enabled and then paste in the MAC address of your PC here. You'll notice when I do this that the dashes change to colons instead. Mine has done this automatically, but you'll need to make sure that yours uses the same format. And then click Save. Lastly, we're going to disable the DHCP server on the router. To do this, go to Basic Network and then LAN, and then click on this entry to edit it, and then untick the DHCP server box to disable it. Click OK, and then click Save. Once that's saved, we'll need to reboot the router again by clicking on this Reboot Now button. And again, it will take a couple of minutes for the router to reboot and reconnect to the network. Now go back to your PC's adapter settings and then just disable and then enable the Ethernet or local connection to refresh it. Now if we go back to status or to the additional properties, and once the local connection has re-established, we can note that the IP address here is the same as the public IP address of our router. Now we can test this configuration. Make sure that your PC isn't connected to the internet via another connection, and then open up a command window, and then enter the command ping space and then google.com and press enter. This sends 4 packets to Google servers to test the connection. If your configuration is working, then you'll get 4 successful replies, and it should look something like this. Okay, that's all for this video. We've covered how to configure IP Passthrough on the CM550W router. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next video.